Hey soccer friends, I just want to give a shout out to our partner, Team Player. They are changing the game on how you find the perfect soccer team for your player. Parents, this means no more endless social media scrolling to find information on teams. With Team Player, everything you need to know is just a few clicks away. It's simple, straightforward, and lets you find the best coach and team for your player without any of the usual headaches. And coaches, we all know how tough it can be to get your team noticed, but when you subscribe to one of Team Player's team plans, you instantly get access to set up an online team profile that allows you to reach more potential players and showcase what your team is all about. It's super easy and lets players and parents see why your team could be the right fit for them. And if you sign up using the promo code PITCH, you can try any team plan free for 1 month. So whether you're managing a team or searching for one, come on over to www.teamplayer.us. That is TEAMPLAYR.US. And come give Team Player a look. Family-owned Soccer Innovation is your go-to source for top quality equipment. Whether you're a player, a supportive family member, or a dedicated coach, they have everything you need to elevate your game. For players, their innovative equipment are designed to boost your skills and performance on the pitch. From their agility cones to their portable goals, they have you covered. And family members, they offer durable equipment that's built to last because we know your support is critical to your player. Coaches, trust me, they can provide the equipment you need to run effective training sessions and shape the next generation of soccer players. Visit Soccer Innovations at soccerinnovations.com to start elevating your game with them. And if you use the code PITCH, PITCH, you can receive up to 10% off your next order.
Oh, and welcome to Chat by the Pitch. This is your host, Ian Babcock. This is part two of Daniel Dobson. And this episode is about what he's doing with DKSC and his role with them, which is absolutely amazing what DKSC is doing with their bad top, building a different type of player. As we go through this interview, I hope you enjoy it as much as I have enjoyed talking to him. Now let's head down to the pitch and start this chat. Are you coaching with DKSC or just doing the college advisory director role?
In the process of getting my son's 2014 boys team started up here in the North area. So that's kind of one of my goals within the next year is kind of get a little branch started up here just to share the love, share everything I love about DKSC up in this area. But yeah, right now with my full-time job, I just don't have enough time to pick up any teams to coach. But I'm always available to help cover a practice or cover a game for coaches. And my role is just kind of educate the parents starting freshman year all the way to senior year, just kind of be that resource. We'll have meetings with each teams individually, like group meetings, players and parents, and just kind of guide them through the process starting freshman year. This is what you need to start doing. This is what you need to expect. And then after those group meetings, I'm available 24/7 just to reach out. If you have any questions, call me, text me, email me. If I don't know the answer, I'll find someone who does. And with the resources I have, with the resources Paul Jobson has, with the resources everyone in the club has, we're going to find the answer for you. So it's just having that resource for players and specifically for parents. I've had so much good feedback from parents, like just thanks for being there to answer my questions. Sometimes my opinion differs from my husband's or wife's, and that opinion differs from the kids, but just having someone there, a non-biased opinion, just to pick their brain has been a good resource of the feedback I've heard from the parents.
That's awesome. So you provide the resource, And when we were talking a little bit before, you talked about we were recently in a meeting and using the same chain email when communicating. You said that um, just don't send one because it just looks like you're spamming every coach in the nation. When you start emailing them, you said that SMU coach said use the chain email. So you
It was
just so they
actually
know.
it was actually Dallas Baptist University, that coach. Yeah, he said use
TBU.
the chain email, and I thought it was the first time I've heard that. And I was like, man, that makes sense. That way a coach can kind of scroll through and be like, oh, wow, this kid really has emailed me 5, 10 times or whatever. And don't just make the boring generic emails. Do it to where it's something relevant. Like if you have highlight clips from a recent game, go ahead and include it on that chain. If you notice that that club or that college is playing in a game upcoming, tell them good luck. Or if they had a good result in a spring game or a fall game, let them know, hey, I'm watching y'all. Like, good job on your result. That was an impressive result. But I thought that was a good words of wisdom from that coach that I just recently realized or learned a week ago. And I was like, man, that's actually good advice. It doesn't hurt.
No, that's one way of showing what the conversation has been, even if it's one way.
Yep.
Going along the same chain is when you're talking to these players when they're communicating with the college. I know that you need to give me this information again. It's when can the college reach out to the player?
So June 15th, going into their junior year. So
Is
that's a big date for these kids. Before then, if you're a freshman or sophomore, you can reach out to these college coaches as many times as you want. They can't reach out to you back, but you should be contacting them and reaching out to them just to just to sell yourself and sell your brand and let them know who you are. There are ways coaches can kind of follow you on social media or send you camp information. That's their way of showing you love back if you're a freshman or sophomore, but they can't physically contact you or write you back or call you.
so if they should being it can't be like a personal message, but they can share like, hey, we're having a camp this week type communication then.
Yes, a generic camp email cannot be personalized, but that's the college coach's way of saying, hey, I see you, you're on my radar. Please come to our camp. So I would do that all the time when I was a college coach recruiting kids. Now, some coaches send out mass emails and they're trying to fill their camps up. So some of them are money makers, but some of them are recruiting tools as well. Another good way you can tell if they follow you on social media or if they like your stuff on social media, that's stuff they're allowed to do. So if a college coach is following you or putting a check mark, liking something on social media, Instagram, Twitter, that's just showing, hey, I see you. Like, we can't contact you, but we see you.
So starting then, do you advise these younger athletes to start building their social media presence to be more of a highlight reel, or maybe more of how they behave on the field when things don't go their way, or just because I just hear that when I was in high school, the colleges like send us your highlight reel, just leave it quiet, no music, nothing, just don't talk, just because we listen to it on silent anyways. And when I was in high school, I'd make highlight reels for kids, and I would just put music to the background, whatever music I had on the computer, and normally classical, just something generic. And it was just their highlight reels. Then the feedback they got was, we need to see what happens when you get defeated, like when
Yeah.
you lose the ball, because this was for lacrosse players. Show us something how you engage when you lose the ball
Yeah. So
versus the transition for the
the
transition.
stuff they post, it's really you. They want to see who you are. So yes, put your highlight stuff. Um, think of it as your resume, but it's constant. You're always adding it to it because once you post it online, it's not going anywhere. So that's your resume you want to showcase. And not even just on the field, off the field too. Because when you're recruiting college coaches, they want to get to know this person because it's a business for them. They want to know who you are. What kind of extra stuff do you do? Extracurricular activities? Are you in church stuff? Are you in extra stuff with school, with student council? Go ahead and post that stuff as well. But definitely for the sport specific stuff, it's your highlight. If you have one highlight reel, post that one. If you have consistent where one game you scored an amazing goal or a defender has an amazing tackle or good in the air or a goalie has a good save, go ahead and put that short little clip on there. It doesn't have to be a 3 to 5 minute video, just a quick little 10, 20 second video, and then add that to your profile because that can be your working resume when they can go scroll through. When I was a college coach, when kids would email us and I would need to find something out, my wife got really good at stalking on the internet. So all she needed was a couple names and she could find out a lot of stuff about people. And that's how we would do our homework. And that's how we would kind of filter our recruits is what can we know about them? What is this kid like, not just on the field, but off the field? How are their grades? What are they involved with?
So I know college is more about the well-rounded athlete than just. So you're advising them to go be more involved than just soccer. And But how do you advise these players? Because some players are so hyper focused on the sport, or their parents with them are hyper focused on the sport, that they forget that outside part of soccer of the world. And how do you advise them to show it when maybe they realize by 10th grade or 11th grade that they're behind the ball on community activity? Do you advise them to start ramping it up on their social media so it's seen more, or do you just want it to be more organic when they're doing stuff? Or how do
I
you advise
I
them
would
to
say
be
be more
with that?
organic. There's nothing wrong with a kid that just focus 24/7 on soccer because coaches love soccer junkies and they know that kid's going to be just all about their program and committed. But at the end of the day, also you want a well-rounded kid because soccer is that tool to get you into college, but that degree is going to take you so much further than soccer ever will. So I would say just follow your passions, whatever you're passionate about, whatever you're involved with, go ahead and do that because that's going to open so many doors as well as soccer. But use soccer as that tool to get you to college to get that degree. But that degree, like I said, will take you a lot further than soccer will. Even if you do make it to the pros, everyone's got to hang up the cleats at some point. So you just want to make sure that whatever you're involved in or whatever you're interested in, go ahead and get involved with it, and that can help open more doors, in my opinion.
Gotcha. No, I see what you're saying. So as they're progressing, so that when they get to that June 15th date and the floodgates open, so to speak, how should they correspond with colleges then to bring them closer to the equation of where they need to go?
So the process is once that June 15th date comes, some kids will get a lot of phone calls, some won't get any, some might only get one or two. Don't put so much pressure one way or the other. Run your race. Don't try to compare yourselves with teammates. But if you do get a phone call, build that relationship. I would recommend don't turn anyone away, even if you're not interested right away. Just use it as practice so you can kind of build that relationship because coaches change and you might have a coach recruiting you at one school and they end up going to your dream school down the road. So you want to build that relationship with them. Um, and then after you're on the phone with them, the next step is getting you on campus. So it's either your goal is to put yourself in position to get a phone call, whether on that date or within the week or two after. And then the next step is getting you on campus for an unofficial visit or an official visit. So that's kind of how the process works. Some kids, they might talk about scholarships on the June 15th date. A lot of kids, that won't happen. A lot of kids, that's just a phone call, building that relationship with the coaches. And then from there, the coaches want to get you on campus so they can kind of show you the facilities, meet the whole entire staff, the trainers, the academic advisors, and just show off their locker rooms, their facilities. And then that's when you get on campus is when you really talk about business and numbers and roster spots.
So when they finally get that chance to get on and going into their junior year, do you advise them just to make a trip or make it official or unofficial, or can they just like drop in sometime and say like, "Hey, I'm going to be in town this week. Is it possible for me just to drop in randomly, or do they need to have a firm, concrete
Well, we
like?"
encourage the kids. I mean, there's so many schools in the DFW area alone. I mean, you got some powerhouse D1 schools with TCU and SMU right in our backyard. You got powerhouse D2 schools. You got Dallas Baptist. You got TWU, and then you got some D3 school. I mean, there's so many schools in our own backyard that we encourage the kids go on campus. Go let these coaches know if you are on campus. Go stop by and say hi to them. Yourselves an unofficial visit or an official visit where they're actually paying for you to do that, even better. But I think it'll set a lot of these kids apart by just going to the campus and touring it, especially we're local and there's so many good schools in our area.
Yes, there's a lot of great soccer schools here to go play for. So now they're moving into their junior year. Is there anything you would advise them to prep for with communications then, or just keep the open log going back and forth? Or should they start trying to tweak things more to get things more finalized by the time they get to their senior year?
Tweak things more, try to get more finalized. One good thing that we do with our club and that I do with our recruits is I do practice recruiting calls with our incoming or sophomores and incoming juniors. And it's just a way for these kids to get used to talking about themselves on the phone when they do get that opportunity June 15th or after. And it's cool for me because the first time they're on the phone, they're all nervous and shy because it's tough bragging about yourself in the right way because there's a fine line between being confident and cocky. So we'll do these practice calls with them, and I'll ask them same questions as I did for 8 years as a college coach, just to get them used to those key words and just get them used to like talking about themselves in a confident way. And a lot of the kids, after the second or third practice phone call, it's a night and day difference in their tone, their confidence, and just their ability to sell themselves over the phone when they're talking to an adult college soccer coach as like a 16, 17, 18-year-old.
Gotcha. So as they move into the senior, when should they expect a commitment from the college to them, to the player then?
Anywhere from your junior to senior year. The top kids will go pretty early junior year. Some kids now might take till their senior year. What's crazy now is the transfer portal really puts a hiccup on these kids because there's a couple thousand players in the transfer portal that they're having to commit with or compete with as well. I'm always a glass half full guy, so a lot of people think that's a negative that they're having to compete with them. I actually think it's a positive because a lot of schools that I've talked to, majority of them save one or two scholarships specifically for the transfer portal kid. So if they don't get a kid from the portal, then that just means that's one or two scholarships that these senior kids have an opportunity to go snag up some of that money.
Gotcha.
So it's tough because you are competing with a lot of different kids in the portal. But on the flip side, more colleges are saving money for later kids. So a senior that might not get recruited heavy as a junior, but still busts their butt and really grinds and really takes that time to develop. And as a senior, it opens doors for, or it opens some college coaches' eyes. They have a chance, and there's actually money still available. Where in the past, a lot of kids were scooped up junior year and they would use all that money up and they wouldn't have money. But now coaches are saving money specifically for the transfer portal kid, but it could trickle down to seniors.
So if a kid does not get an outreach, let's say there's a player that is kind of been lost in the world of club soccer, trying to go play at a collegiate level, but they're behind the eight ball. They're going into their senior year. Are they completely lost, or do they need to go and try being a walk-in when they go to college and pick a school based on that, and hoping for a chance for on roster and possibly scholarship of some sort, or should they just? How do you advise those type of players to move forward then?
I would say if you get a chance to be a walk-on, do it. Anytime you get your foot in the door, kind of like what we talked about earlier, volunteering when you're working. I mean, if you can get on someone's roster spot, that means absolutely everything because you're one of the 28 to 30 players on their team. Once you're on the roster spot, then it's fair game. Go play. Go earn your money. Go earn your playing time. And if you do well, a coach is going to take care of you because they don't want you to enter the portal and go somewhere else. If you're going to do well there, and even if you start as a walk-on, you can always earn more money. They can't take scholarships away from you for athletic performances, but they can always give you more money.
Yeah, cool. So now with scholarships, this is where I feel like soccer is kind of, I guess, the underdog for scholarships because you can go get a full ride for go play football, American football out of college, but you can't get sometimes a full ride to go play soccer, from my understanding. Is that correct, or do they really need both academics and their sports
It it make
scholarships?
it makes them more valuable if they can combine and stack the academics with athletics. So D1 schools get 14 full scholarships. So if you got 28 to 30 on your roster, everyone can't get a full ride. If you're a kid who's taking care of business with academics and you're getting half your school paid for, you can tell the coach, hey, all I need is 50% and I got the other 50% covered. So it makes you more valuable to these coaches because they can get a full ride player. It only costs them zero point 0.5 out of their 14 total scholarships.
So they
So,
can divide those scholarships however they want then. So if they want to give,
yeah, however they want.
okay, I mean that's encouraging for players coming in. I mean I'm learning as we're talking. So because
Yeah. So
um,
at my former school, we would have probably two or three kids on a full scholarship, 100%. And actually, they got this thing called cost of attendance now, where you get a 100% scholarship that covers tuition, fees, books, your food, and it covers a couple $1,000 spending money on top of that.
oh
Some
wow,
schools offer that, some schools don't. And then, yes, so I'd say two or three kids were on a full ride, 100%. We would have a handful of kids, probably 4 or 5 kids on 60 to 70%. That covers tuition fees and books. And then you'd have a handful of kids on 25%, 30%, kind of lower money. And then you'd have a few on books or walk on just to get them on the team on the roster. And then, like I said, the ones on low money or walk ons, if they come in and do well, especially if they start and they crack the starting lineup, they're going to be on scholarship the following year.
So they should be encouraged just to try no matter what. Like you said when you're in college, don't go into it. Go into it fully developed, like you learned your in between your sophomore and junior year of college. Like go into it full hearted and not give up then, and they will be successful then. Like you said earlier, it's you have to learn to outplay, not just be talented.
Yep. I mean, if they're passionate about it, it's something they truly want. It's not going to be easy, but if you can get your foot in the door and prove you belong there, it'll good things will happen.
So as they move out of their senior year, and let's say they don't get an offer anywhere, and they go to a college, what's the likelihood of one of these players then to go be a walk-on? Because you only have so many slots on a roster anyways for college. Is there a good chance they have a chance because they weren't seen?
Every school is different. I mean, if you're already going to that school anyway, and you can tell a coach, "Hey, here's my resume. I want to come be a walk on." Some will take you, some won't. It's all about timing. You don't know. Injuries could always happen. Kids could quit. Something could open up. So the thing with that, if you want to be a walk on and you're not really recruited, it's just persistency. And if your time didn't come and you're decide, hey, I'm going to go to this school, I'll try to walk on. I would say it doesn't happen too often, but it could happen. Another route that a lot of kids don't realize is a really good route is junior college. Go to a junior college for a year or two, get your basic undergrad classes out of the way, and compete at a junior college, because a lot of these schools, especially D1 schools, are also recruiting the junior college route, because they're getting a kid that's probably 19, 20, 21 years old who's had a couple years to develop, get bigger, faster, stronger, and was proven at the junior college level. We have a couple good schools in our area alone. We got Richland, we got Brookhaven. I mean, these schools have won national championships, who are sending their kids to bigger colleges after a year or two.
Yeah, I was talking to a junior college coach, and he goes, it's just harder at a junior college because you're always recruiting because it's a 2-year cycle, not a 4-year cycle.
Yeah.
And he goes, a lot of those kids will go on to a 4-year college to go play if they choose to continue with education. Um, Now, once they're in college, do you guys have them ever come back and help with the high schoolers explain their experiences with your program then?
Yes, for sure. And Juan's 2001 class, I was able to recruit like 5 or 6 kids to my old college. His kids are now at the final stages of college, and they came back this summer and ran some clinics and camps. They'll definitely be involved. We have a WPSL team for women's soccer. It's kind of like a semi-pro in the summer. So all the college kids come back there. That's where they can train with high-level athletes, keep their fitness, keep their game sharp. And then, yeah, we'll get coaching opportunities for them, because there's no better mentor than current or former college players who went through the process really recently to come back and mentor the next generation. So we definitely keep them involved and get them back and teach them the value of coaching and serving and giving back, because they went through it as a player. So they've been real good, and it's going to be exciting, because we'll have more and more get involved with that pretty soon in the future.
Okay. With the program that you you work with them on phone calls. Do you work with them on how to apply to colleges then, or is that set up through the school, the high school they're going to, or
Their high school counselors do a lot of that.
do you guys do with their applications then for them?
So we just walk them through the process. First, you got to register with the NCAA Eligibility Center. That's the first step to get you eligible to go to a college at NCAA. And then from there, the college application process is all pretty straightforward online. So we'll just kind of help them with that process. I haven't had too many questions on that, because it's all online. So you got to basically just follow whatever that college is online. It's pretty self-explanatory.
And they do that when they apply for college, then they don't do it that June 15th
Yeah,
date
they don't
then.
do it really then. They do it more when they narrow their list down of schools they actually want to go to. So some
Gotcha.
do it early, but by senior year, that's when you really want to start applying.
As they go through that process, they're done. steady. Like they're all set for college as long as they keep their grades up and all that stuff, correct?
Yes, and then I wouldn't say steady. Now the work really begins. We have an awesome strength and conditioning coaches, two of them that do a really good job. We have our own little weight facility in house that they're putting them through the weight room. That way, when they get to college, first day on campus, they've already really structured and know what's going on. A lot of kids have never really been to a weight room or really done the correct form and techniques and stuff, so that'll set them apart. So, but yeah, once they commit and all that, the work's really just starting because we want these kids to show up to their school as fittest as possible, as strong as possible, and just really ready so they can set a good example and a good first impression to their coaches. I'm surprised how many kids show up not fit and not ready to go. And it's like, man, this is your opportunity to show everyone, not just the coaches, but the returning players, like, hey, I'm serious. I'm ready to make a difference and make an impact with this team.
That goes back to your college days when you made the comment that I can't remember the gentleman's name. I think he said he was Scottish.
Yeah.
Really made an impact for you on the physical side. So you guys taking, was that before you came in, or is that part of this whole process that was started with?
Really, when Juan came in, Juan just put so many resources to the kids. He's thinking, how can we serve these kids to make them better? So he brought me in as an advisory role. He brought Juan Robles and Abe in as a strength and conditioning role, and that was about the same time we came in. So yeah, it's really when he took over, he just started putting so many resources to make it a player's first club.
So amazing. I'm just sitting here in awe because I've been reading through all these different clubs' web pages and trying to see what they offer, and I will give props to where they deserve. DKSC's website is one of the most easiest navigating web pages to see what they offer, what they want to do, and where they want their players to be. So I find that I'll give props where they deserve because websites are where what sells the clubs, in my opinion, to a degree, other than word of mouth.
That's
If it's
awesome.
easy to navigate, it's easy to understand what the end goal is. You guys have your pyramid on top, what you guys want to do, where you want your players to be, and how you got your pathway to be there.
Well, no, that's good. Thank you for that, and I agree. I mean, it's a lot of people, a lot of little small pieces make the big puzzle together. I mean, we have a great media guy, we have a great website guy, we have great videographers, we have great marketing people that can go out there to the games, take pictures, and put up cool little graphics. I mean, there's a lot of little pieces of the puzzle that come together, and it's cool too because all of us are like-minded. So it's what can we do to serve? What can we do to help these kids? And it starts from Juan up top, but he brings in good people that are good at what they do, but also know it's about the kids. It's not about themselves.
Right. My next question is, what's your success rate then from kids that are applying and going to college and actually landing on a team, not even a scholarship, but just landing on a team?
It's pretty
Do you?
good. Obviously, your top level ECNL kids, it's I'll have to figure out the exact percentage, but if it's not 100%, it's pretty close to it. And then you got your ECNL RL teams that we do a really good job of getting those kids placed. And then the level below that, the Classic League kids, it's a little bit tougher. But the ones that are persistent and the ones that do a good job of selling themselves, they'll land on some teams. It might be a little lower level teams, but it's still the level that fits them perfect because the main thing is, too, you want the right fit for these kids. So, and the club, I would say, too, does a really good job of, like, some coaches are stuck on, oh, that's my player, I need this player, not this club. This club's like, no, this kid's ready to move up to the next step. So if she's a Classic League kid doing really well, that coach is not going to be greedy and just hold on to her and ruin her. He's going to be like, no, you're ready. It's going to hurt my team, but you're ready for the next step. So who move her up to RL? The RL kid that's doing good, they're going to move up to the top ECNL team at the National League team. So whereas a lot of clubs, the coaches think that they own the players because it's a business. And if you take your top player off your team, it's going to pretty much destroy your team. Whereas
Right.
DKSC is like, no, we're all about development. We're going to move these kids up as they belong. So the kids that are developing, and all kids develop different times. So some kids might develop really early as a freshman, sophomore, and they kind of plateau. Some kids might wait a little bit longer to develop. I mean, we got a kid, a senior, who plays RL, plays NL, she went to ECNL in Houston, and she's been getting blown up by coaches because she just had a great tournament. She's one of those kids that just works hard, develops. She was injured for about a year, so that's kind of where she looked back in the recruiting process. But it's a good example of just kids just making the most of your opportunity, control what you can control, and then as a club, we'll put you up when you're ready for it. And then that just helps all of them in the recruiting process.
That's really cool. I understand what you're saying. Like coaches don't want to let go of their top players because their teams fall apart. Now, as they progress and you guys let them go, do they all come back and give you guys feedback after they leave? Good feedback, parents, players, or are they the normal adolescence that's like, okay, I'm where I need to be. I'm going to focus on what I'm doing.
No, it's
Uh,
good feedback because the relationship these coaches build with those players, it's different, it's unique. So they're just thankful for the opportunity to get pushed up. And
Gotcha.
it's kind of like, don't forget where you came from. A lot of these kids are humble and they work hard, and there's a reason they got pushed up. So I would say for the most part, good feedback, and the coaches do a good job of building their relationships with the players and parents.
That's really cool. Thank you. Now let's shift more towards you. Now the way I came across you was your flyer on one of the social media sites that you were advertising for skills, and I just read through where you like your little resume you put on there, and so you have started your own little. I wouldn't say little because I have no clue if it could be huge for all I know. Clinics that you put off on your side of town. So what do you do with those?
Yeah, so I've been doing those for years. Really, my best friend, Matt Montaigne, he's a goalie coach. We grew up next door to each other, so we've literally known each other almost 40 years. He's the one that got me the job at UNT. He started there in 2011. They did real well, won a championship. He brought me on in 2012, so we got to coach at the college level with my best friend. Well, he does a really good job at goalies. He's put like 24 goalies to colleges within the last 2 years, 3 years. And he'll have like 20 goalies out there doing his trainings with goalkeepers. And he's always been on me, hey, let's get the shooting back up. Let's get the shooting. You can do the strikers, and I need them to shoot on my goalies. So finally, I had enough time this year to get it back going. We've been doing it for a few years, but I took some time off just to focus on my new job and other things with family and everything else. But this was the year that he really pumped me up and really got me motivated to do it. And it's been well. I mean, it's really soccer specific for shooting. There's so many private trainings that do skills and other things, but I just focus on shooting, whether it's power, finesse, placement, different techniques. But it's done a really good job. And we're out in Frisco, and I'll have my strikers for about 30 minutes. He'll have his goalie for 30 minutes, and then we'll mix the goalies in so the strikers actually have someone to shoot on. So nothing but good feedback, and it's been really positive. And I'm not as big as he is right now with his goalies, but we'll slowly build. But I'm not really trying to make it big. It's more or less just trying to provide an opportunity for kids that want to get better at shooting and just want to put that extra work in.
So you're in Frisco, and do you do it certain days of the week, or is it just during breaks, or how does it work for you?
Right now it's Sundays. When I finish my high school season at school, I'll add a Wednesday evening. So he's out there with his goalies probably 4 or 5 days a week. Once I get enough interest, I probably won't do that many days, but I'll definitely do 2, maybe 3 days a week.
And that will all be in Frisco then.
I'll be in Frisco, yep. And then he does a cool thing. It's a membership. He charges a little membership fee for monthly, so you can come to as many or as little as you want. But the ones that he has signed up on membership, if they go to his 4 or 5 times a week, they're getting good elite level goalie training for I think like $10 or $15 a session. So
That's phenomenal.
and then those ones that actually take advantage of it are the ones that are going to colleges, and it's just a cool, unique thing that he does with the goalies that I'm trying to model it with the strikers. So I think both of us, I mean, it'll definitely grow. And with both of our experience, I mean, combined, we have, I want to say 20 conference championships between the two of us and over like 20, 25 years of college Division I coaching experience.
So are you guys only focusing on Frisco, or are you guys looking at expanding to the other areas of town, or just because
For
it's a matter of coaching is a matter of convenience sometimes because family time's important.
Exactly. That's the main thing. That's where he's based out of, and that's where his area is. Eventually, he'll get his own little facility he's working on, and that'll be in the Frisco area. So right now, it'll basically just be in Frisco.
Awesome.
Yeah, but we might expand, but right now just focus on Frisco area.
I'm being selfish because there's nothing in North Fort Worth,
But
really.
gotcha. But with that being said, you'll be surprised how far kids drive. I had kids driving from Mansfield. I had kids driving from Mesquite, and so they'll come to some good training. So,
Yes, I mean we drive
but
to Frisco quite a bit for training.
if you want us to set something up over in Fort Worth, we'll get something going.
I'm just asking because there's a lot of kids that want extra touches, and um, parents ask all the time, and I have no answers, and I'm trying to find answers. I know there's a few little pockets, but they're in Argyle or wherever, and it's not centrally located
Yeah.
in a well
Now
area.
we'll talk later, and we get something going on out there.
And so that being said, you work on your it's a finishing pretty much, correct? It's the
That's
best way
all
of
it is:
putting it.
striking and finishing.
That's awesome. A lot of kids need that. It's amazing going to these games and watching kids shoot on goal and they're off by 2 inches. If they just shot 2 inches more to the left or two more inches higher, the goalie would have completely missed it. And
Yeah.
it's just
I
learning.
was fortunate enough to play with this guy named Preki. He was a 2-time MLS MVP. My rookie year, I was 21. This guy was 42 years old on the same team. And he finally taught me how to shoot the ball because I was a player like, oh, you just got to hit it hard and hope it goes in the goal. But no, the way he just finessed it, and there's a time to shoot it hard, but there's a time to place it. And he just made people look so silly with his skill and his placement. He was a 2-time MLS MVP for a reason. So just teaching these kids about composure in front of the goal, confidence, and it's really more of a hard pass to the corners instead of a rip. So getting them used to learning that aspect is really good.
And that's awesome. I mean, I look at it as a parent because my kid plays and I just want the best for him. And that's what this is all about. Like this podcast was designed because I'm selfish and I want to learn more. And I want to share my knowledge with everyone that I'm learning. And along the way, it's like I'm looking at it through my parents' eyes, and I feel like so many parents just feel like go out there and just kick the ball against the wall for 5 hours. You're eventually going to learn something. And like, yeah, they'll learn how to hit the ball hard and well, but not place it or whatever it may be. And having those little chances to have those moments one on one or in a group session with someone really does player, cultivate the player well rounded. So he hears more voices and more uh, viewpoints of how to do things, which really makes them, when they go to college, a well rounded athlete on top of it because they can take direction from different coaches.
Yeah. And the cool
So
thing is these kids are getting better and better each year with all the resources they have. I'm so amazed with the development of these kids because they're doing things I couldn't even dream of at their age.
yes, it's amazing watching these kids that are 8 years old doing bicycle kicks and actually
Right.
placing it in the top 90. Who was the greatest influence, you as an individual, than you as a soccer player?
Well, as an individual, would be my dad. Just watching him hardworking, just providing for the family. That's my biggest influence and biggest hero for sure. Um, and then soccer world, I'd have to say my college coach. We didn't see eye to eye at all times. We butted heads, but he saw my potential. And when I screwed up and made mistakes, he could have easily cut me and got rid of me, but he stuck in there with me. And throughout the whole 4 years, he had a good quote that said I was a great ambassador for someone who stick with the athletic program for 4 years. And there's a reason for that because I was immature. I was a knucklehead, but he saw that potential in me to stick with me. And I'm glad we both stuck it out because my senior year, he named me captain and we were able to finish number 10 in the nation at one point for Division I soccer and win our conference and our regular season championship. And no other Memphis team in the last 20 years since I've been there has won a conference championship. So it was a very special, unique year, but he stuck with me and believed in me, and he gave me a good perspective as a coach because when things go wrong or things happen negatively, like, hey, it's a mistake, it's learn from it, move on, learn from it, don't let the mistake happen again, but grow from it and just work harder. So I would say my dad and my college coach are two very good role models and huge influences in my world. I like to
Good
add
stuff.
too, I have a twin sister. She's been a huge influence in my life, and my older brother. My twin sister was born with cerebral palsy, so she's been in a wheelchair her whole life. So she just was a great person to have in my side. She was my biggest fan, and having her at games and just to see all the good things she can do with her handicap, and then all the struggles she's had. It made me realize when I thought I was having a bad day, like it's really not that bad of a day, seeing how strong she is and how much she had to endure growing up. So that would be another huge influence in my life that really helped shape me. And I've always, I mean, I have a good relationship with God. I'm a firm believer, but when I was growing up, I was always like, how am I able to use my feet, use my legs at a high level? And my twin sister can't even walk. So that was kind of a struggle with me, but it also made me stronger and a better person and a human by dealing with that and growing up with those experiences.
Amazing.
She's a special human being to me for sure. So huge influence just growing up. And we were blessed and fortunate that everyone growing up, middle school and high school, they treated her just normal like anyone else. I mean, going to school, she graduated from UTD, and I mean, going to dances, and just she's had that mindset of I can do anything. I'm not letting this disability affect me in any way. So just having that mindset, see her go through that, just helped me realize I can do anything I want as well.
I really appreciate you sharing that. It means a lot. I don't know about the rest of you, but this episode, hearing what DKSC is doing, gets me excited about club soccer in North Texas and what these clubs can offer and what they are wanting to do. Listening to him explain Bad Top and Bad Top U to me, if you didn't catch it, if I edited it out, I'm sorry, but that's building a different type of player. And especially in the ECNL, they use the U because it's more of a university program, prepping these kids for the collegiate days. Now, I hope to have more of their folks from DKSC come on and talk about the rest of these programs they offer. But I hope you enjoy what they're trying to do, and I hope you enjoy what Daniel had to say. Listening to him talk about all these other programs that they're offering and what he does on the side, I hope you give him a check out and see what he's up to. And at the end, I hope you parents keep the conversations at the pitch keep on going. Until next time at the pitch.